Hello, welcome crafty friends and card making friends. This is Patty Bennett. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I blog at pattystamps.com and I'm thrilled that you have joined me today. That is exciting. We are going to make split cards. Here are just some examples of the cards that we are going to look at today. We're going to craft together and I'm going to show you some great ways to cut your 12 by 12 designer paper to make the most of every sheet. So this is a live video on Facebook. If you see the little red live button up there, then you have found me live, and that's fabulous. I'm watching comments over here on the side. And if you're watching a replay either on YouTube or my blog or here on Facebook, that's fabulous as well. Welcome. I can see the live comments right now. Welcome Denise, Christine, Melissa, Patricia, Cindy, Gloria, Marlene. Oh my gosh, there's like, it says 12 more. Margene, Debbie. Thank you everybody for joining me live. Exciting. We're going to look at these split cards today. So I'm just going to give everybody who is live just a moment to jump on, and then we will go right into cutting our designer paper, and I will give you all the details on split cards. They're really fun, and they are a great way to stretch your designer paper investment. So I hope everybody's doing well. Oh my goodness, from Australia, Saskatchewan. Hi everybody. Hi Shan. Hi Christine. Hi Pat. Good to see you on here. Hi Angela. Oh my goodness, and Patricia and Stacy, Iona. Hey everybody. All right. So let's jump in and talk about split cards and why they are a great way to use your designer paper. So I used the back of the designer paper 12 by 12 cardboard sheet for an example here. I just want to show you what I was thinking for this live. So normally when I have a 12 by 12 sheet of designer paper, this is what I do. I cut it into 4-inch strips, and then I cut 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. And then you would have a background piece that looks like this, 4 by 5 1/4, which layers perfectly, at least here in the US, these are my measurements for inches in the US, onto your standard size card. So that's normally what I would do with designer paper. But then, of course, as you can see, you're going to have this strip down here that's left over. And sometimes I do my best to use those pieces or that strip in something else. You could wrap it around a box. It makes a great belly band if you cut this first in one piece, or depending on how you cut it, you would end up with these 3 little rectangles. But if you want to stretch this piece into making 9 cards, so this would make 6 card fronts, as I noted here, then here's what you can do with 0 waste. You would cut 4 inches and 4 inches and 4 inches and 4 inches, and you'll get 9 squares. So yes, that would make 9 little square cards. And I've been making lots of square cards over the years. I had these on my blog just a few days ago with the sweet strawberry bundle and the new Berry Blessings designer paper from Stampin' Up, which is a celebration item. So that is, I can see on the camera here that the lines are pretty light. I'm sorry about that. I think they are a little bit light, but I hope that you understand what I was saying about cutting 4 inches and 4 inches and 4 and 4. So that would make 9 square cards. Or what I'm going to show you today is how to take those squares, and here's what I would call splitting them apart. I'll show you different ways to do that. So this piece of hydrangea paper is actually a 4 by 4 square. And what I did was I used the Curvy dies, and I used this piece right here to cut that 4 by 4 square, spread it apart, and use that opening as an opportunity to stamp your greeting. Here's another example of that. So this is hydrangea paper, and this is the floral art. Floral art? Is that right? Oh my goodness. Stampin' Up! Has so many amazing papers, and then I get all confused about all the names. Let me just get you the correct name so I don't say it wrong. It is Fine Art Floral. Yes, sorry. Fine Art Floral here on page 33 in the January to June 2021 catalog. So same idea, use the curvy dies to split your 4x4 apart, and this way you get 9 standard size cards out of those 9 squares. And I think here's one more that I used the curvy die, and this is also the Fine Art Floral paper. So that gives you an idea there. Isn't that fun? I love this. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness, the comments were flying by and I missed a whole bunch. I'm so sorry. Okay, Lori, that's the most asked question. Lori says, what envelopes do I use? So I just use the standard envelopes for my square cards. And I actually put that on my blog a couple days ago when I blogged all of these cards, and I put a big heading and I said, the most asked question, what envelopes do you use? I use just the regular envelope. So it's this size envelope, and I just put the square card in that, because here in the US, a square envelope costs more to mail. It's not a standard size, and as it's like tumbling through the machines at the post office, it doesn't know to read it this way or this way, and so they have to hand feed a square envelope. So I use the rectangle envelope for a square card. So thanks for asking that. I'm glad that we had that opportunity to discuss that. All right, so there's an idea, like I said, using the curvy dies to split your piece apart. And we're going to make one, so don't worry. I'm going to go over this in a minute. Here are 2 examples of splitting your square apart by just simply cutting a diagonal. And that allows you to just have this straight diagonal piece and to stamp a greeting. You can either use a longer greeting, or like here, I decided to put my focal point over part of that and just use a smaller greeting. And this, if you haven't seen in the Celebration catalog, is one of your free gifts that you can select. This is called Flower and Field paper. So if you're watching this January or February 2021, then you will be able to select this as a free gift with your $50 Stampin' Up! Online order. And here's a look at all of the beautiful patterns that come in that 12 by 12 paper pack. 12 different patterns. So you could make tons of cards with this design idea. And I want to point out that also what I did is I also put a piece of designer paper behind there, because if I tried to stamp this onto the red card, that's kind of dark to stamp on. So I wanted it lighter. And here with the pretty peacock card base, again, that would have been kind of dark. So I put white behind. Okay, so there's 2 more ideas. And then let's look at this one with the Fine Art Floral. 4x4 square split apart with a diagonal cut, and then I cut this out of the Fine Art Floral paper just as a little addition. So very quick card, only 1 stamp and a little embellishment, and ta-da, very easy. Here are 3 ideas, and this also is in the Fine Art. Oh no, it's not. Hang on. It is in the Love Always. So here is this paper, and it is called Love You Always Specialty Designer Paper, and it's a foil finish. And so I have used the same one on all 3, and you can see how beautiful it is with the coppery imprinted design on it. Again, it's a 4x4 square, cut a diagonal, split it apart, and you get your standard size card. So these 2 have pieces of the Fine Art Floral images just cut out. I just fussy cut them with my Stampin' Up! Paper snips and added those as the focal point and added this beautiful ribbon, which is also in the Love You Always, and it is called number 5, I can read. Blushing Bride Metallic Ribbon. And you can see, I'll hold it up closer, that it's actually kind of two-sided. So you have like a Blushing Bride side, and then you have this pretty side with more of a gold woven finish. Isn't it gorgeous? It's really pretty. I love this ribbon. Okay, so that's an idea for that. Now I want to show you something. I call this a don't, just because to my eye, I don't like the diagonal sloping downwards. Really, there isn't anything wrong with it. It's just to my eye, I like the diagonal sloping upwards. It's totally up to you. If it doesn't bother you or you actually like it better, that is great. So not a big deal. But my preference is sloping upwards, but I just tried to make the most of it. I went ahead and stamped and added the flower. And then this one, I stamped it straight across so that it wasn't so evident that it was sloping down. I mean, you know, either way, it's not a big deal. It's just like my preference. So those are some examples along with these. Oh my gosh, I made a lot of these. These were fun. So let's make one together so that I can kind of show you about cutting the paper and making one. Okay, Sandy says she likes both ways. Thank you. I'm glad. Let's see. I'm just sorry. I'm scrolling back for other comments. How are you getting the stamp centered once you split the paper apart? I'm just splitting it apart and just stamping it. To me, it wasn't really much different than if you're stamping on like a die cut or something. So yeah, I'm just eyeballing it really. And yes, love the paper. Gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody enjoys them. And oh, you're sharing. That's so sweet. Oh, Debbie, you didn't know that about the envelopes. Yes, at least in the US. I don't know if that's true everywhere. Yes, great way to make more out of your DSP. Thank you for those comments. Thank you. Oh, everybody's saying you love them. I am so happy. Okay. Yes, we're going to do that right now. I'll show you how to split the paper apart. I just kind of, when I do a video or I share a project, I kind of like to tell everybody where we're headed, and then we kind of back up and we make it. That's how my brain works. I like to know the end, and then I go back and I kind of dissect it. So that's why I wanted to show you. But yes, we are going to actually create one of these so that you can do that as well. So you have your 12 by 12 paper. I am using some of the Celebration paper that we just looked at. I'll show you again. Right here, Flower and Field. So I'm using my favorite piece out of that, actually. I love really all of them. Sometimes there's a couple of sheets where I'm like, maybe not. This one, this pack, I love absolutely all of them. All right, we have our trimmer. I do not know if the whole thing, if my whole trimmer is going to be able to fit on the camera, but hopefully you will get the idea. So we are going to cut our 9 squares. So we cut at 8. We're cutting a 4-inch strip. So I cut at 8 and at 4. And you could probably cut all 3 of these at once, but I know you can definitely cut 2. So then you flip it and you cut at 8 and at 4. So now we have 6 squares, and then we cut our last strip, and then we'll have our 9 squares. Okay, so now we have 9 4x4 squares. You could either, at this point, like I showed you before, create square cards. So these pieces of cardstock are 8.5 by 4.25 scored in half, and that allows you the space to add a 4x4 square. So that is one option. Or we're talking about the split cards today, so let me show you how I like to split them. And we are going to make this one so you can kind of see the parts of where we're going today. So it's going to be like this. And if it helps you to see which way you want to cut, you could have one out. You could print out an example. These samples will be here on pattystamps.com on January 17th and 18th. You'll be able to see these. But all I do, and I don't measure this, I just put my piece in, and I like to have a little bit less up here and a little bit more down here, just a little bit. And it doesn't matter. Seriously, makes no difference whatsoever. I cut it, and so there's my split. That's all you have to do. It does not have to be fancy. If you wanted to use the curvy dies, like I showed you in some of those first cards, you can use either of these, and you would put this in your die cutting machine, and you would lay the die about like that, and you would run it through and cut it, and that's going to give you the curvy shape like this. This particular one was just this one. It just makes some dots. You can see those little holes there. And so it's just cutting like that. So either way, you can use some sort of a shape to do it, or you can simply put it in your trimmer. And I'll do it one more time just to show you. So as I'm doing that diagonal, I have a little bit less here and a little bit more here. That makes your top piece a little smaller and your bottom piece a little bigger. But that's not like a rule or anything. It's just my preference. So can you see that that piece is a little bit bigger than that piece? And that's all. It's not a big deal one way or the other, but that's how I like to do it. So I hope that helps in showing you how to actually cut the pieces. So let's make one, and I'll show you all the parts. So I have my real red card base. This is a piece from that flower and field that we were looking at. It's one of the celebration gifts, and it's actually, see, it's the back side of the flowers that we're using. But since red is dark and hard to stamp on and see, I cut a piece that's 4 inches wide, and I left it 5 1/4 tall. This could be, if you prefer, could just be cardstock. It doesn't have to be designer paper. But I am going to just leave that little border left and right like that. And then here was my square. Okay, so that was my square of 4x4 paper. I cut it at the diagonal, and I'm going to split it apart. Now I have a choice. I could do this with it so that I have that little bit of yellow poking out top and bottom. And I think, yes, I did that on this one. And I kind of like it. It gives a little extra color and interest. Here's what it looks like if you don't let the yellow show top and bottom. I think it looks quite different, don't you? It's the same exact supplies, but a pretty different look. So you can do whatever you'd like at this point. Let me just lay my flowers here and see what I'm thinking. If I kind of like the yellow there, or do I want to do that? I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this way, because this was another thing I decided to do. I thought that this would be kind of fun as the diagonal greeting. Let me show you this. It's called Many Messages. I should have looked up the page. I apologize. I will find it. Here we go. It's on page 35. And this is a really fun set. I already did a video with this. It's all one big stamp. I have it mounted right here on my Stamparatus. Okay. And if you stamp it on a large sheet of paper, you can use the matching dies to cut the whole thing out. So here is that greeting that I have used on this. And I just thought, wouldn't that be be kind of fun instead of stamping. So I forget now who, somebody commented about how do you get your greeting in the right place. If you're nervous about that, stamp on a die cut and do it like that. So let's get this assembled, and I'll tell you how I made these really pretty flowers. And I need to glance over here and check your comments, because I can see in the corner of my eye there's a bunch of them flying by, and I want to be able to answer your questions. Okay, so there's our square that's split apart, and then these flowers, let me show you. This is the True Love designer paper, and I colored them with my Stampin' Blends. You know, if you follow me a lot, you know that I love to color with Stampin' Blends. It is part of the Love You Always suite. Starts on page 10, goes to page 11 and 12 and 13. It's a mega suite, and it's this paper down here. It comes in a 12 by 12 sheets, and these are all the patterns. So for this card, I have used this pattern. I was going to say it's that, but it's a different one on the sheet, and I colored them with my Stampin' Blends. I like to pop these up, and you can see that the Stampin' Blends bleed through the back, and that is what you want when you are coloring with blends. You want it to bleed through to the back side. I love the foam adhesive sheets. These are just my favorite thing to use to pop up larger images. I think I need to trim off just a little bit there so it doesn't stick out. So that's that. Then I'm going to put a piece on the back of this one. And if you prefer, you can always use the Stampin' Dimensionals. I think I'll actually put one over here. But this way I am not kind of fussing with a whole bunch of dimensionals. I'm just sticking down this piece, and it also, I feel like it gives the whole piece a little bit more stability instead of possibly like one little part sinking in. You know what I mean? But it's just my preference. You know, we have so many fun adhesives and tools that we can use. You can use whatever you prefer. And I'm going to put this one down here and this one up here. And then I think we'll just leave this flat. Yes, did I say the wrong thing, Lois? I'm sorry. Yes, 5.5 by 4 inches is the yellow piece. I probably said it wrong, and I apologize for that. Sorry about that. Yes, it is a beautiful pack of paper, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just scrolling back. I want to make sure that I caught all these. Yeah, the yellow is 4 by 5.5. I probably said 5 1/4, and I apologize. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that. And we are caught up with the questions. And then on the inside, I always like to do white on your darker cardstock so that it has a white piece in there. And I think I might stamp something in there. I think that would be pretty. But that is really it. Isn't this a fun way to stretch your designer paper and get 9 cards out of a 12 by 12 instead of your standard 6 cards. So for every sheet, you're getting 3 more cards. So if you have a pack of 12, then that's 36 extra cards out of a pack. Isn't that fun? Yeah, so that is that one with the Celebration designer paper. And let's just bring back in some of these other ones that I was showing you earlier, and I will check and see if you have any other comments. But that's what I had for you. Oh, one more tip. Hang on. Let me find the card. Just a second. I had one more tip for you. Let me find the card that I did. Hang on. Well, I don't know what happened to that card. I had a card set out here to show you. Oh my goodness. I'll just show you the tip anyway, and then I'll look for the card later and put it on my blog. That is so funny. I swore the card was out here, and now it disappeared. Well, here was the tip. On one of these cards, I swore that I had used this, and now I can't find it. I took the lace ribbon and my olive Stampin' Blend, and I colored it, and I made gorgeous green lace. Where? Well, I don't know. I had this out here to show you, and I was sure it was because it was on one of these cards. Here it is. I knew I did it. So isn't that cool? Sometimes you think you're losing your mind, and then you're good again. But I thought that was so pretty, and it matches this paper so well. So don't forget about that. You can color ribbons or laces or trim or even baker's twine with the Stampin' Blends. Oh, thank you, Melissa. So sweet. Thank you, Nadine and Sally. Thank you, Catherine and Margene. Thank you. And Holly, I am so glad that you enjoyed that. So if you need any of these catalogs, any of these products, any details on these cards, do check my blog, pattystamps.com. I'm going to photograph and blog some of these for January 17th, some for January 18th. We might actually spill over into the 19th with all of these, but the replay of this will be there, and then you'll be able to get all the dimensions and all the details of all the stamp sets that I used. So, oh, thank you so much. Everybody's giving me hearts and thumbs up and such sweet comments. You're so kind. Thank you. I am glad that you enjoyed the idea to stretch your paper, and I hope that you will have fun crafting, and I hope you'll visit me again. I do a live customer video on Facebook every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and then I try to add it to YouTube and to my blog within a day or two. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Here's a question. Which gems can you color with the markers? Almost anything. Let's move these a little bit, and I'll show you some of them that I like to color. Okay, black, probably not. I don't think a color will cover the black, but really just about anything else. I have actually colored over on the blue gems. So let's take, just for instance, this is Dark Misty Moonlight. So if you needed to darken, I'll show you how the difference here. So if you wanted to, let me grab white paper so that you can see this better. If you wanted to darken up, do you see how these three that I just colored, they took on a little bit darker hue? They are not such a light seaside spray pool party-ish blue. So there you go. You could darken that. And the in color dots, oh, here's one that I've already done. So here's what the package looks like normally. And it's the Just Jade is what comes in the package. I probably used the dark shaded spruce on this. I'm pretty positive. And I actually made it more of like a Kelly green. I wanted something a little bit darker. So you can even color a color on a color. And I have also used Calypso Coral and Poppy Parade on the yellow and on the pink to change those. So let's just grab, actually I will grab Cherry Cobbler and show you that you can completely change that color. So if you needed a darker color, but kind of in the same family, like I would not color this over the green. I would pick something close and then color over it. So there is that. You can do the frosted gems I use all the time, the clear and frosted. So these come in, you can see all these miscellaneous ones in there that I use. So you can color, those are probably blinding the camera, I'm betting, because of the, but look how absolutely amazing these turn out when you color them. Aren't those gorgeous? And that's the frosted and clear epoxy droplets. I hope you can see those on the camera. I mean, these are amazing. So really almost anything. And who asked? Cindy. Yeah, Cindy asked, are there plain white gems? Stampin' Up! Currently does not have white, but the clear and frosted are probably your closest, so that you could color absolutely any color on these and change those. And I think at first when we got these, I actually ordered a bunch of packs and I cut those sheets in half and I did like a whole half sheet with other colors so that I had lots of colors to use. So yes, you can really color on just about any of our gems, our dots, our embellishments, almost anything. You can alter the color. I hope that helped. I hope that answered your question. Thank you again for all your kind comments. I will let you go, and I hope that you'll join me over on my blog, pattystamps.com, for more ideas. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 25 years, and I have a new post for you every day so that you can get tips, ideas, reminders, sales, whatever. I have something there for you every day. If you need to order, if you need catalogs, there are links there for all of that as well. So thank you again for joining me. I will see you live again next week. And yes, we do have white pearls. You can color those any color. Thank you, Catherine. All right, thanks again, and I will see you online next week live. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.